Hey guys, welcome back to my little mini guide on the starting classes for Dark Souls 1. My name is Rob, and today I'm going to be going over the Hunter starting class. Bow-wielding Hunter, okay at close range, but weak with magic. I don't know why it says weak with magic specifically on the Hunter, because, the Bandit's also weak with magic. I would say the Warrior would be weak with magic. And the Hunter is basically a slightly respect warrior with different starting equipment. If you look at the stat spread, the warrior and the hunter are both soul level 4 with 11 vitality. If you took 1 point of the warrior's endurance and put it into attunement, then you'd have the 9 attunement and the 11 endurance of the hunter. And if you took 1 point of the warrior's strength and put it into dex, there you go. And they both have 11 resistance and 9 intelligence and faith. So what makes the hunter better or worse than the warrior? Well, I would say that the starting armor is, you could say it's better because it's lighter, and since the 5 poise you get from the warrior's starting equipment is negligible at best, yeah, the hunter has lighter starting equipment, so you can fast roll by default with all of your equipment. Although the short sword and the large leather shield are not as good as the warrior's long sword and heater shield, the hunter does start out with a short bow right there at the beginning. So let's jump right in, and I'll kind of show a little. There's not much to talk about with the hunter because most of what I'm going to say about this starting class is the same as the warrior. They're very, very similar. So let's just jump in and show a little bit of their differences here. Okay, just after getting the sword and shield for the hunter, I'm going to have to redact something I said. You absolutely do not fast roll when fully equipped as the hunter. That is a mid-roll. Which makes sense given the stats, the 11 endurance that the hunter starts with. But for some reason, I thought this starting class could fast roll right out the gate. I don't know why I thought that, but anyway, I must correct that. Alright, so the full equipment load of the hunter consists of the short sword, the short bow, large leather shield, and the hunter set, which does not come with a headpiece. The hunter set does technically have a headpiece that you can find in the game, but you don't start with it because it's got like special lore implications, I guess. But with the similar stat spread to the warrior, how does the hunter differ from the warrior? What's better? What's worse? Well, you start out with a short bow, which, yeah, it's a bow. It's good. I like the short bow as far as the bows go. Very easy to use. You start out with 30 arrows, which are standard arrows. Perfectly fine. It, I mean, this can be useful. There's different things you can do with a bow starting out, but the reason I don't think that it's very useful on a starting class is because you can almost immediately get a bow, straight out of the gate in this game. If you start with the Master Key, you can go down through New Londo and through the Valley of Drakes and into the Darkroot Basin and get a longbow for free. Or you can run up through the Undead Burg and go to that merchant where you'll get the heater shield, and you can buy a short bow for a measly 1,000 souls. I mean, I know 1,000 souls sounds like a lot, but with the short bow being as useful as it is, it's not a bad idea to invest in one early on. But if you don't want to do that for whatever reason, you can start as the hunter, and there you go. You've got a bow right out the gate. The short sword versus the long sword, it's really just, it's a perfectly good starting weapon. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's got the exact same moveset to the longsword. It's just, you know, the longsword is long and the short sword is short, you know? I think it does like a little bit less damage. Yeah. I want to say the longsword is like, what, 90? Maybe 80 or 82 physical damage to start off with. Maybe 82. And the short sword, obviously, is 78. Let me see here. That looked a little strange there. Looking at some of the numbers here. Okay, I want to point something out. Take a look at the attack rating over there where it says physical 78 and plus 12 for the scaling damage. I thought something looked a little funny. I was two-handing my weapon, and all of a sudden, that scaling damage goes up to 20, just to show you how much stronger you actually get by two-handing your weapon. But anyway, the Hunter is a good candidate for using the Winged Spear early, because you put 1 point into Strength, 1 point into Dex. You've got the starting stats for the Winged Spear, just like the... I mean, you could essentially just put 2 points into Dex for the Warrior and do the same thing, so... I don't know. The Hunter's just another good candidate for using the Winged Spear early on. It's not a bad weapon to have, but a couple of things I recommend doing with this class if you want to start with it. Level up endurance until you can fast roll, because I mean, this is such a light set. Like, I'm just kind of like, why are you mid-rolling while fully equipped? But as you can see, all you got to do is remove the gloves, and all of a sudden you're fast rolling. So can't complain too much. Maybe when you get to the Merchant and the Undead Bird, ditch the large leather shield. Even though it's not bad with 91 91% physical damage reduction and 52 stability, that's not bad for a 1.5 weight shield. But for half a unit more, you can have 100% physical damage reduction with the heater shield, and a little bit more stability. So yeah, the Hunter's a perfectly good starting class, but it's just going to come down to preference. You know, do you want to start with a bow? Would you rather buy a bow? Do you want to start with the heater shield? Would you rather buy the heater shield? Does it bother you having a short sword versus a long sword? Yeah. Important questions. And I want to point out that the large leather shield, if you're not looking at it closely, like, it's got some intricate designs and stuff on it. It's kind of cool close up, but from a distance, or if you're not looking at it that closely, like I said, it reminds me of a pancake. Like, you basically have just a big pancake, and you're going to block damage with it. What do you think of that?
Well, what do we have here?
A pancake.
You must be a new...
Okay, that's enough of that. So basically, you know, in some of the previous videos, I've shown how to get the Winged Spear, I've shown how to level up for it, and I've shown how to get to the Merchant by going up through the Undead Bird. I guess I could show a little bit of utilizing a bow early on. I guess I can do that, right? Press L1 when you have it. Well, first of all, when you have it equipped in your hand, press triangle to two-hand it. You have to use it in that way. Now, if you want to free aim it with a reticle and everything, you'll press L1, and that brings up your aiming reticle, and you can use the D-pad to zoom in and out, and you'll hold down R1 to ready your arrow, and then release it to shoot the arrow. And as you can see, when you hit an enemy in the head, it causes them to stagger back a good bit. You saw how he kind of doubled back, almost like he was having some whiplash there. Of course, if you want to lock onto an enemy, you can do it like that. Wow, did you see that? He just warped through space and time. For that, you get a parry and a riposte, sir. You are not allowed to warp through space and time. That is against the law. And look there, now I have a hat. Yeah, we're ready for battle. So yeah, that's I guess this is one advantage that the hunter will have over the warriors, that you can pop this guy who likes to throw fire bombs. One thing to keep in mind is that the arrow will not go directly to the center of that reticle. It goes a little bit to the side, so you kind of have to keep that in mind while you're aiming, depending on the distance. That wasn't the best example, but let me try to show you on this guy that's a bit further off. See, I've got his head right there in the middle of that reticle. Let's release the arrow. Well, oh, I'm not I'm not giving the best examples of what I'm talking about. I guess I would have to be... Ow. I guess I'd have to be shooting at somebody that's further off. Let me see here. Okay, this guy. Let's try aiming for his head. Well, I just kind of missed there, didn't I? Oh, he can Estus. That's funny. Okay. If an enemy's further away, something you'll have to pay attention for. Let me see if I can demonstrate on... Okay. We'll say this brick here that I'm aiming at in the very middle of my reticle. Okay, you see how the arrow kind of, after it got to a certain distance, it started to drift to the right a bit. Look again. Notice before it hit the wall, it was not in the very center of that aiming cursor. That's what I'm trying to get at here. If you're aiming at something further off, let's say I want to hit the very center of that brick. Let's move the cursor a little bit to the left, just a tiny bit. There you go. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're aiming at an enemy or an object that's much further off, is that you have to take the arrow, like starting to dip a little bit, into account. Yeah, that's about all I can say is the hunter. I don't think I've ever started as this particular character and finished the game with it. I've only ever started with it and messed around because personally I prefer the warrior for its particular stat spread and its looks, and I don't mind buying a short bow or getting the longbow for free if I pick the master key as my starting gift. So that's going to do it for talking about the hunter. I really don't have much else to say. Perfectly good starting class, but not my favorite personally. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you with the next starting character on the list next time. Until then, y'all take care.